Hello everyone, I am back to do another review right after Venom: The Last Dance. I haven't done reviews back to back like this in quite a while for the Agatha All Along series. So as you can see, I didn't buy any of the pops for this series because I wasn't interested enough in it to buy any, and I'm not interested in it after watching it enough to buy any pops either. So yeah, so I just have my Agatha pop from WandaVision, just to make it not as boring. But yeah, so we'll at least be reviewing the series today. So overall, I give the series probably a 5.5 out of 10, and I'll explain a little bit more of why. So first, we'll get into the positives, what I liked more about it, because I have some negatives, two really big ones that I want to talk about. But I really liked the characters in this series. I really felt like the acting was good and the characters were written pretty well, and I honestly just really enjoyed the characters. I think they were casted extremely well, and I enjoyed the characters. I also liked that we got Lady Death finally. She's a character that had been talked about, has been in Marvel lore for a while. And we also get Mephisto name dropped, which was pretty cool. We also kind of get the continuation of Wanda's story in Westview, which is cool, and I really enjoyed that. And then I really also like the CGI. Marvel has really had CGI problems lately, but it looks like those problems are finally being fixed, and we love to see that. I also liked Catherine Hahn's performance as well, obviously as Agatha, as the main character. And yeah, again, I don't really have a whole ton of positives because I probably, even though I rank at 5.5, I'd still probably say I have more negatives than that. But yeah, I don't think I really have anything super positive. The show was just pretty decent overall. Oh, and the costumes. They did the costumes really well. Some of the better costumes in the MCU lately. But anyway, so now the negatives, and kind of I have two really big problems with Agatha All Along. So my first problem with this series is I felt like when it ended, I was left with more questions than answers, which is never a good thing. Like, how did Agatha and Lady Death meet? And how are they in love? Why does Lady Death want to kill Agatha's son? What does she owe her? How did the rune that turned that one kid, I don't remember his actual name, but basically turned him into Billy, how did that rune extend outside of WandaVision? Of the hex in WandaVision, sorry. How did Wanda's power go outside of the hex? Like, that's never really explained, and I thought her power was just contained in the hex. But when that kid died in the car crash, he was brought back to life through a rune caused by the hex, but he was outside of it. So how did that happen? Where did Agatha get her power from? We know that she made up the Witch's Road song and the whole story of the Witch's Road to lure other witches in and get their power. But where did she get the power to get power from other witches? Like, what's the origin of Agatha's powers? Where did she get her? Was it Lady Death? Was it her mom? We don't know. We never understand. I mean, it's never answered. Who is this kid that was drowning that apparently is now Tommy? Like, I was left with way more questions than answers when the show finished. And I just felt like they didn't answer enough. And I was just confused, all right? Like, this isn't Inception. This isn't Black Ops 3's campaign, right? This is Marvel. I'm sorry, but Marvel just has never had... They've had some deep storytelling, but it's never really been crazy deep. So when you're left with more questions than answers, you're kind of left unsatisfied. But that's just me. And then my second problem with the series, and probably my biggest one, is that the fact that the Witch's Road was fake. So we learn at the end of the series that the Witch's Road was something that was just made up in Billy's mind, that he basically brought it into existence. And that leads to so many even more questions. Like, he's not the Scarlet Witch, so how in the world, I get that that's Wanda's son, but how does he have the power to do that? There is no way he should have enough power to do that. I mean, how does he have the power to form the whole Witch's Road and everything in it? I mean, I know this is also going to sound like a weird question, but like, where is the Witch's Road? So like, where are the corpses of the ladies that died there? Was it kind of like the Hex, where it was someplace on Earth that just Billy used his magic to take over for a bit to form the Witch's Road? Is it in another dimension? As soon as Billy stopped using power, did it disappear? Does it still technically exist? Like, are those ladies dead and their corpses are just decaying on Earth? Did their corpses disappear once the Witch's Road is gone? I know that sounds like a really weird question, I know it does, but I hope I'm making sense. Like, where is the Witch's Road? And what happened with the witches that died on the road? It's just confusing. I kind of equate the Witch's Road not being real to Rhodey when we found out he was a Skrull in Secret Invasion. Because everything between Civil War and Secret Invasion that happens with Rhodey is now hollow. And it doesn't really mean anything. And that's kind of how I felt with this. Is now, if I go back to watch Agatha All Along, everything that happened on the Witch's Road is hollow. It means nothing because it was fake. It wasn't real. And I don't like that. I really think that this series would have been so much better if the Witch's Road was actually real and actually a thing, instead of being made up in someone's mind. Because it leaves, with hindsight, it makes the series before it really hollow and empty. And I didn't like that. So yeah, I think the Witch's Road really should have been real. And the Witch's Road not being real leads to, again, a million other questions. Which obviously, with the questions I already have, kind of just left me unsatisfied. But in the end, we do get a pretty cool action scene between Agatha, Death, and Wiccan now. He's now Wiccan. And we do get comic book accurate Agatha with the white hair, looking older. I don't know if she was a ghost in the comics. I'm not too familiar with comic lore. I've never really read the comics. The only character I've ever really done any research on in terms of comics is Spider-Man, because he's obviously my favorite fictional character of all time. So I don't know, but we did get a comic accurate looking Agatha Harkness, which was really cool. But yeah, in the end, I didn't really like the series because it was very unsatisfying. And now when I look back at like all the witches that passed trials in the road, all those things were very like personal trials and challenges that they had to overcome. And it just means nothing because the road was fake. Like, it's so hollow now because we know that the road was fake and didn't mean anything. And also, when Jennifer, she finds her, like, purpose and escapes from the road, but with Billy being in control of the road, wouldn't he be the one that would technically have to give her permission to leave the road? She couldn't just leave the road unless the road itself was basically a sentient being, which maybe it was, another question that never gets explained. But she just disappears. She leaves the road. So did like Billy subconsciously allow her to leave the road? Is the road sentient now and can decide when people die and when people live and can escape? And if that's the case, how in the world does Billy have the power to do that? I don't think he should be that powerful. I mean, he's not the Scarlet Witch. He's the Scarlet Witch's son, which, yes, he would have a power, but I don't even think Wanda's power was that powerful in WandaVision. So how in the world would he have the power to do stuff like that? I don't know. Again, I just was left very unsatisfied and confused after watching it. I have a ton of questions. We're obviously, with the way the season ended, we're going to get a season 2. And maybe some questions will be answered in there, but who knows, you know? I have no idea. But yeah, we'll just have to see. Again, overall, 5.5. It was fine. It was serviceable. I think we're kind of still coming out of the quantity over quality phase that was a huge issue in Phase 4. I think we're kind of still coming to the end of that, and we're still getting out of that period of Marvel. And I think this might have been a product of that, because in all honesty, in my hot take, we didn't really need an Agatha show. I know that might be a hot take, and I know people might get upset, but we really didn't, in my opinion, we didn't need an Agatha show. I don't think it was necessary. Sorry. But anyway, yeah, so those are my thoughts about Agatha All Along. It's fine. But I am planning on making a video about Phase 5, not Phase 5, 2025, which is part of Phase 5 still, but about Marvel's upcoming projects in 2025, because I'm really excited. My hype for Marvel has honestly been down a lot, but man, it's kind of coming back, dude, with all these trailers and everything that Marvel's showing off now. I'm kind of getting excited again, so I'll make a video about that. But yeah, I also pre-ordered the Gambit pop from Deadpool and Wolverine. So if you didn't know, on Amazon, you can pre-order some Deadpool and Wolverine pops that have released. But yeah, let me know what you guys all thought about Agatha All Along. And the next review will probably be Kraven the Hunter, I think, would be the next review. So I'll see you for that one. But hope y'all have a good night, and peace out.